Hey kids, join the club. Get the all-new CCXCC t-shirt made with 100% mutant power. Be like these cool kids. Get it now on dinobeast.com and chrisandersoncomics.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club. I'm Chris Anderson, joined as always with me, English speak me not, is John Coates. John Coates, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm just terrific, Chris. Ready to wrap up the Proteus saga in style? We'll find out.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to get the opinion of your brother, Mr. James Coates. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
You rode through the Proteus saga with us, even though you didn't intend to, through to the end, the bitter end, and we'll dig into this and find out what's going on. So let's check out let's check this out. 128. Let's check it out.
Yeah, man. 128. The day reality went wild.
Check it out.
For
Crazy.
the second issue in a row. Cover here by George Perez.
That's cool.
So yeah, man, trying to put his stamp on maybe getting to take over, doing some X-Men.
I don't know enough of George Perez's work. I really need to dig into it.
It's good.
Yeah.
His early stuff, it's almost like more detailed John Byrne.
Oh yeah,
if that's possible. You know, like he really just draws the heck out of stuff and crams stuff in right from the get-go.
Yeah, people really love him. I have formed no opinion because I haven't really checked any of his stuff out because I didn't really read Teen Titans, and he did what did he do, like a Wonder Woman or something too, or
he did little stints on like the Avengers and stuff before then when he was at Marvel first.
So that's like 70s, like late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a window there where I'm missing a lot of stuff. So it's time for me to peek into that era. Anyway.
So yeah, here we go. And the cover here, as we remember, Proteus has these weird reality warping abilities that they haven't explained. And he can make the city like get all twisty and stuff. And so that's what's going on the cover here. And the X-Men are trying to fight back.
Yeah.
And I would just kind of want to throw back here to the last issue, 127, where we get Proteus on the cover, and it's this bright magenta.
Yeah.
I think this should have been your finale cover, as opposed to this.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And that magenta.
If you think in terms of like this little like a saga, but that kind of hints at one of the issues we'll talk about, which might be that it just drug on for one too many issues.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is where it should have ended.
Sure. Could have truncated all of this into two issues instead of 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it runs 4 issues, but we get all that Dark Phoenix setup at the very beginning that ends up taking up a lot of time. But we'll get into it. We're going to get into that.
Okay, cool.
Oh, look at that focus. All right, the action of the tiger. So here we go. Claremont Byrne. Austin on inks, Orzakowski letters, Glynis Ween colors, Stern and the Shooter are your editors.
Awesome.
And right off the bat, here we got our Proteus, who has taken the body of his father, who Moira is sort of estranged from for like 10 plus years, 20 years or something.
Yeah, the guy's in Parliament or something in Scotland, right?
He's an MP or something like that. So he's like a big deal or a politician or whatever, but he's like a super dirtbag.
I love that jacket. And say it again. I love it. It's like so weird. Such a strange choice.
Yeah. And right off the bat, here we get these like crazy twisting buildings by Byrne, trying to show that Proteus is messing with reality in some way to do something, just to like freak people out, I guess.
Yeah.
The Mad Mutant. And so we're going to just kind of go through all of this warping stuff here a bit. And, just call out interesting things you guys see. X-Men running around, everything's going haywire. Because a lot of this we've seen happen like in the previous issue. They were dealing with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the same stuff. It's just now happening in more of a populated area.
Yeah.
The coloring choice for Cyclops' blast there is interesting, where it's sort of rainbows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or gradients there. I've never really seen him do that before.
Yeah. And this, like where the wind, like it's like the window turns into bees.
Yeah.
To attack people. I can just imagine trying to like write that in a script to give to somebody. Like, oh, and this car turns into a swarm of bees attacking people.
A crowded
street. You guys are artists. You'd probably just like shit and just be like, no.
I mean, yeah, I'm about to draw a book, 10 pages that take place at Comic-Con. So, I'm going to be drawing basically a swarm of bees, except for humans.
Yeah.
I got to get creative about my blocking.
Uh-huh. Storm, she uses her wind to do some stuff. Wolverine is getting all messed up again because Proteus's power messes with his grounded senses of like, the earth and stuff. And so he's starting to get all wonky.
Right.
And then we get to our little flashback of what has happened in our 3 previous issues and before, where it takes us all the way back to X-Men 104, where the X-Men fight Magneto on Muir Island. And that's when the cell gets damaged. And here we see the crazy zombified husk body of Proteus emerging.
Yeah, this actually explains something that we had a question about last time. Like what happened to his body and how was he contained, right?
Yeah. It's like the only part in the beginning of this whole issue that should even be here. And they should have put it in 2 issues ago.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah.
And it just kind of catches us like up to speed and still catching us up to speed. Proteus, he kills a bunch of people.
Well, check out how he turns Moira into this awesome, weird elephant aardvark lizard with a fro. I love it.
Yeah, this like demon elephant or something. Like, yeah. Like that's pretty sweet. And so basically he's like, you're never going to leave me, Moira. And now we get to the X-Men. They're getting ready to get back in the fight. And this is a great panel. Like this whole mob of people running this way. And they're just like, going to have a battle strategy right in the middle.
Do they have a strategy?
They're going to battle.
Is that a question?
Well,
they're going to battle. For the 4th time they've attacked him head on. Do they actually have a strategy?
No, they do. They do come up with a strategy.
Yeah, get Colossus next to him. That's been the strategy the whole time.
Yeah, that could have been strategy day 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is affected by metal, right?
Yeah, that's his weakness is metal.
And so how come that it's like, doesn't Wolverine like get him at some point with something? It doesn't really phase him.
I think Wolverine does Wolverine even get close enough to cut him in the previous one?
Oh yeah, no.
And they've never done a fastball special, which has already been introduced.
Yeah,
in the previous battles, like Colossus has always seemed to be like on the other side of town, or he's like not around or something.
Yeah, he's having a coffee.
Yeah.
It wasn't his time.
And here comes Banshee. You know, Banshee's freaking out because, of course, you know, him and Moira are in love.
Yep.
And he still doesn't have his powers back. And Cyclops tells him that basically he'll sacrifice anybody, any X-Man, all X-Men if he needs to stop Proteus.
Cold-blooded.
Because he's that dangerous. And we'll remember and Cyclops is the one who stopped Moira from killing Proteus right off the get-go. At the beginning.
Think he's working for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he Proteus?
Oh.
So is it? Oh, look at this cartoon ad here. I mean, this is before we're watching cartoons, but man, a Plastic Man cartoon.
Yeah, Plastic Man cartoon. I remember that.
Yeah, Scooby and Scrappy Doo. It's good stuff. So here we go. You know, Proteus captures Storm in this little crystal cocoon thing. And here's one of the little Wolverine notes that I'll make this issue. Like, Wolverine cuts her free, and he says, "These adamantium claws of mine will cut through anything." And I believe that's the first time that they mentioned that they can cut through anything, not that just, you know, that they're called adamantium.
Right. That they're like so strong. Right. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
is this finally it? This is finally all of the Wolverine tricks that he's got mentioned.
Yeah, maybe. It's almost like every couple issues since Byrne came on, it's like a little kid who's like, you know, designing like a hero, and it's like, yeah, he can fly. And then, you know, a little while later, oh, and he's got laser vision.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and he's got this. Oh, and he's got this. You know?
Sure.
And that's kind of like what's going on with Wolverine. It's like every couple issues, like, oh, now the metal is everywhere. So you can't really hurt him. And it's so good his claws can just cut anything. Yeah.
I'd love to see a book where Wolverine gets torn into like 15 pieces, and then they each regenerate into a Wolverine, and then the series is called Wolverines, and they're all just different versions of Wolverine.
I mean, that might have happened.
Yeah, man.
I mean, and that one, didn't he get burned down to it was just the skeleton laying in a pile, and somehow he grew back and didn't die?
Yeah, from a single cell or something like that.
Like one cell regenerated his.
Yeah, 90s. Woo.
Yeah, man.
But here back in the 70s, you could still hurt Wolverine.
Sure.
So he kind of rescues Storm, and then all of a sudden Proteus is coming up on him, and bam, gets shot in the shoulder.
Oof.
Metal bullet, and that stops him. And I would say, come on, Banshee, like, can't you hit him like in the head or something? Like, you were
he was a cop too.
You were like an agent.
He was an Interpol.
Yeah, you should be able to shoot better than that, or like pop off more than one round.
Yeah.
Which Proteus tells him, "You fool, you should have finished me with your first shot." But he didn't do it. The ground opening up to become a pit, that's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a crazy visual there. And then, you know, now Sykes got to try and rescue him. And so they're spending all their time rescuing Banshee. Meanwhile, Proteus is gone with Moira to try and just like get some distance and regroup. And then here comes Phoenix, the heavy hitter. And Phoenix almost takes Proteus down. And he's fighting back. And I love this panel right here.
Yeah, me too.
That's a great one thrown in there. Like, it really shocks you because it's so different from everything, you know, with the skeleton, and you see your body outline. Yeah, that's great stuff. And then pisses Wolverine off.
Yeah, you don't mess with his obsession.
Yeah. And then, here comes with the claws, boom, like he's going to actually take care of business. But he stops at one hit to go make sure everybody else is okay.
So he does get him with the claws here. And
you can see it really takes him down, the claws could like tear into his body, his energy form, to do something. And we get the Summers brothers doing their from both sides blast, which is always classic. And then Proteus sort of becomes like a puddle or something, so then they like hit each other. And then he's out of there. And I appreciated like how this page is laid out.
Mm-hmm.
All like the tall panels, because like the whole plot on the page is that everyone's going up this mountain.
Yeah.
All about the whole story at this moment is about verticality, and so then you get these sort of these little vertical panels there, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and on the next page too, when he's all zombified, I think that weird sweater choice just adds to it. Gives it even more texture.
Yeah,
Byrne does draw some cool zombies.
Yeah, like he does look like straight out of like could be from like a Romero movie.
Yeah, but then he'll go and draw that like weird Cyclops face on the bottom panel that just isn't working at all.
Yeah, but this is the back half of the book where like this is the stuff. It's like more of this.
Yeah.
Less of everything that came before it, because you rehashed it all for 3 issues. Like this is like what your ultimate issue of this whole saga. Like more of this.
Yep. Yeah. Which really starts like, man, we could say page
right there.
18.
Yeah.
The page before this, when Phoenix shows up. So like 18 and on, it gets good.
Yeah.
And Colossus is here and he chucks Proteus into a wall and his body just kind of disintegrates and turns into powder.
Which is funny because he's not metal yet.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, like what, like
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it only makes sense because of how the story is going to pay off, that you want him to like change into metal, so they're like purposely keeping him not metal form. But like we've never seen an adventure before this where he's just running around for this long in a fight, not metal.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah,
you question it because it's weird to see him in skin,
Yeah.
And then to have him be in like that casual in the middle of a fight for that long is sus, as the kids say.
Yeah. It's so sus. So here's Proteus in just his energy form. It kind of lets us know that's when he's most vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why he wants all these host bodies, because it like protects him.
Yeah.
You can't get to his like true energy form to like kill him or something because he's got this shell of a person around him.
There's some great energy, just kinetic energy movement in these 2 pages here, and that tall one on the right is just like one of the coolest panels.
Yeah, I mean, it's like your best 2 pages in sequence in the book.
Yeah,
in this issue.
And probably in the whole saga.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like here's Colossus getting burned and stuff because he's not metal yet. And I think like this might be almost the best image of Proteus in energy form in the saga is this little panel with just the little side face, and you see the energy like through the eyeball.
Oh, geez. I didn't even notice that.
It's so effective, and it's like, oh, like this could have been going on way before then.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just reads so well right
it's really
there.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But here's Piotr. Look at that. Looking up. Boom. Crazy energy transformation. Oh man, it's business time. Here's Colossus finally. And then he just jabs his hands right in the middle of Proteus's body and just says it feels like he's grabbing 1,000,000 live wires.
That's cool. That's a cool panel too, like with the lines, like speed lines that radiate out, and then they go in and cut these swirls into it, and then do a color hold on it.
Yeah. Keeping the Proteus pink.
Yeah.
And then here's the sort of our death of Proteus here. This amazing panel here.
Yeah, that's wild.
Where it's like his body is just basically just short-circuited and just like torn apart into little pieces and just flung all over the place. Which, as you read this, it does bring up the thought that like, oh, well, they could have brought him back. Like they could have waited, 100 issues and said, oh, it took him 5 years to slowly reform his cells and stuff, because it doesn't necessarily say that like they're dead or anything.
Yeah. He's never, to our knowledge, he hasn't come back ever.
No, not in the Claremont, run.
Interesting.
And now here we go. Gene's gonna fly everybody up there to see what happened. I do have to make note this hostess ad here. Spider-Man and then this villain June Jitsu.
Whoa, cool.
What an awesome name for a like female martial arts villain. June Jitsu. Man, you got like, I can't believe they didn't carry that on. What a fail. And now we get our meetup, our finale here. The X-Men get on top. Colossus is hugging Moira like, it's done. I killed that sucker. And this panel right here where Wolverine is like being like, yeah, way to go. And he like hits him and you get this kang of like the metal reverberating. Like that's something they don't do enough of with Colossus, is use sound to help describe him.
Yeah.
Like that rarely happens where you get that good metal sound for some reason coming off him. And I think they should do it more. But and then like, oh, everybody's sad. Or Moira's sad. She had to kill her son. And the X-Men are happy though that they're all alive. And then that's it. And that's like, end.
Yeah, it's just I think that it was just, I don't know why they dragged it out as long as they did. Maybe it was because they were trying to formulate what's going to come after this or something. But it definitely feels like this is a lesson in the positive impact of brevity in comics. In arcs, it's just like,
yeah.
What are 3 more issues?
Yeah. What are some of your other thoughts there, James? Before I chime in.
Oh man. Okay, so I guess a big one I felt, because this issue made me really mad when I read it, and I was just like, this is I personally think it's a bad comic.
I think it's the
I really
weakest
do.
comic in the Claremont run.
Yeah,
today.
Reading it and the way the pace, there's major pacing issues. I feel like, and I feel like it's so overwritten. I'm not sure what's going on because a lot of the stuff, like we're saying, it's rehashing the same exact stuff and feelings from the characters that they already went through for 3 issues. So you don't need it.
It's like
all
killing
out.
time.
Yeah. Burns trying to do cool stuff with these itty bitty panels through this whole issue, right? If this is the finale and you've already taken care of the character development, just let him go. Give him big panels, let him blow the action up, let him really go. And instead it's like, no, let's draw these little panels of Storm moving bees around. Get it out. It's crap. Gone. Cut all that junk out. We don't need a rehash, like a Jim Shooter rehash of all the stuff that happened for issues and issues and issues.
Well, it's mandated.
But do it in 2 panels. Do it in a tiny little piece and then just get to it. And like there's so much dialogue in this one. Like it just kills it. Like the whole beginning of this issue. And then it made me just angry for the whole saga. Because even the cool horror elements they tried to build in the previous issues, the pacing of this finale that's supposed to be this amazing thing, like then I was like, why do all those other issues? Do it in 2 issues, hit it hard. Like I was so just disappointed in the way this whole issue felt and the whole saga because of it.
It must be a killing time thing. I just feel I feel kind of strongly about that the more that I think about it, because besides the fact that, you wouldn't do, like, he's been so meticulous in crafting these stories up until this point. You can you can get away with this in this time period because there's no such thing as a Wednesday Warrior, really. You're getting, if you're, I'm sure there's some people who are getting every single issue somehow, but, most of the people in America are getting it from their gas station or whatever, and not able to get consecutive issues. So
it feels weird from Claremont because, like, you read this and you go, he could have done 2 issues of this cool horror thing and then done 2 issues where Jean's starting to get the Dark Phoenix stuff where they're just hanging out. And I would have been cool with that. Like, have them hanging out, having cups of coffee at the mansion, at the island, building into the Dark Phoenix. Like, why drag out this when you could have just done a cool horror story?
Unless they were still formulating the Dark Phoenix thing, like how they were going to approach it. And they're like, we need another month, or something. I don't know. What do you think, John?
I think the whole Proteus saga definitely is at least a whole issue too long. Like one of the things that strikes me is like you guys are saying, like the horror stuff, like when it first starts, like you've got this weird horror zombie mutant kind of loose and you don't know who he is. And there's all this mystery and like, that's great. And then it like veers away from that and they like give him this unexplained reality warping something rather that feels kind of pointless, or like feels like, well, that's a different idea for a different character or a different story, and it gets globbed on, and then now they're stuck with it, and then they're trying to like use it a whole bunch, and then your pacing is all screwy, and then like you just decide not to end it when you should have ended it, and then you got to go to another issue, and then like you realize, oh, we don't really have a full issue new something going on. Like we've got 5 pages at the end, and now we got to fill up the rest of it to get to that. So yeah, I think there's problems with like they added too much to Proteus himself, like, and that kind of screwed with stuff. And there's also times at times where it reads like on one, like maybe Claremont wanted to write some sort of a story that's just like a family drama about like Moira and what's going on with her. And then he has to like maybe keep reminding himself, oh yeah, but there's got to be, it's an action adventure book with Xmen in it. Like, they got to do something. You know, there's like this at times where it feels like it's like trying to be two different things, and it doesn't mesh as well as, you know, his stories usually do. And then it just gets drug out. And you just kind of like go with it. Yeah. So those are some of my thoughts on it, because, like, you know, in general, I think the Proteus is like this vampiric, scary horror villain works. And then they, you know, try and blow him out into this, like, I'm taking over the city kind of a guy. And then that kind of gets screwy, and you waste, like, I mean, you know, you use almost like a whole issue of, you know, in total or more.
Yeah.
Just trying to show like the X-Men fighting, like the street turned weird and this happened. And that's time you could have maybe drilled down more succinctly into your horror character and your family drama and brought it to a nice close an issue before this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of that to wear us down, and then next issue begin one of the most celebrated runs of the whole thing. So maybe maybe there's something to that too.
Yeah, maybe they were like, you know, they're so excited about what they were working on next that, you know, it got to a point they're like, oh my, we just got to get to it.
Yeah.
You know, we're focused on that because next issue we will finally introduce one of the greatest X-Men members ever, and we'll introduce, right? Yeah, and we'll get introduction of one of their best villains, and we'll get all kinds of awesome stuff, and you know, and everything will be fine. But for whatever reason, you know, this month was just not up to the par of what we've seen previously.
Hey, listen, there's been so much good stuff. They're allowed to have a booger now and then, right?
Yeah, and still, it's like a bad X-Men comic in the Claremont run is still better than most of your comics on the stands.
Exactly.
So it's just disappointing when like this hits, and then you're like, man, but the rest of it's so good. Like, what happened here?
Yeah. Look, we know that we're being hypercritical of this shit, and we know how this stuff, you know, how the sausage is made. So, you know, we're sympathetic to the you know, the play of these things.
Yeah.
You know, so we're not being too harsh. We're looking, you know, 2020 hindsight, you know, and the fact that we, like, people are probably like, well, if you think that you could do better, then do it. Well, you know, we're learning and we're discussing.
Yeah.
So,
because, you know, Byrne's still drawing 3 different comic books, and it's a monthly thing, and you know,
dude, I don't know how
rocking
you
and
maintain
rolling
that for any amount of time, especially with the level of detail that Byrne is putting into a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's surprising. Like there aren't as like if you were trying to draw 3 books at this time, like I'd have a lot of panels with no backgrounds, just characters floating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's not happening though here.
No. I don't know if he ever had an assistant or anything. I don't know, because he's putting in the work still.
He is. I mean, it's penciling, which is a little easier, but you still got to draw every little thing, you know?
Yeah.
And then you got to trust your inker to level it up or whatever. But
Yeah.
let's take a look at the
Yeah, backup.
let's take a look at the let's take a look at the
See what this
classic. Where is this? Move that. Okay. All right. So here's the classic issue.
Cover.
We're at 34 issues in to the classics. When we get to 43, I think is the last that has backups in it. So that's where I stopped buying them because there's nothing extra to look at. So anyway, we got Lytle again doing a pretty sweet cover here.
Mm-hmm.
The power of Colossus.
Yeah,
And
that's
one
good.
shall save them.
Now he didn't actually get a run on X-Men, did he?
No.
Yeah, let's see. So far we've had who's done the classic covers? Adams, who never really got a run. He did an annual and a couple little things here and there.
Adam Hughes does them eventually.
Yep.
But he never got.
He did like annual stuff, I think, right? Yeah.
And then he did the Wildcats X-Men crossover.
Yeah. And
single issue.
Right. And then Kieran Dwyer did a couple of them, and then I think that's it, right, for covers.
Yeah.
And then here's the inside cover for that one. Lytle's another hit or miss guy for me, but I do most of the part I really like his stuff. And then let's see here. All right, here we go. Double negative. We're getting a Hellfire Club issue again. So
man, it's so. It feels like this should be like a European comic.
Right, yeah.
Like,
it really does.
Bolton feels like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're getting him sitting here talking about the eccentricities of the Hellfire Club and the dress code that symbolizes power and wealth. That bars no extravagance, But he's like, but this awkward, brainless trollop. Such possibilities are reduced to nothing. She's a mere trinket, an object in a cheap, degrading package. So, nice guy. Forcing her to wear this stuff and just kind of oogling her. Being a general creep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, she's feeling it. She goes back here. This is kind of an odd thing. Look at this, how her hair here is like they colored the head, and the black is like a different color. So it looks like she's wearing like a ghost wig.
Yeah, that's printed weird.
So she's in the back here and she's like talking about, thinking about how, like he stares at her and just strips her and humiliates her. And, goes over to Emma here and is like, don't you just hate wearing these outfits? I hate being, gaped at. The Black King is so rude. And Emma's like, I don't know what you're talking about, what you're babbling about. I'm, you're just a servant girl. I'm the White Queen. It's different for me. I choose to wear this. And when you wear that outfit, it cheapens you. When I wear it, it's power. Let me explain a few things about sexism, girl. It's all in what you use it for, but it's really about personal domination. My clothes are my battle armor. I dress to go to war. Could you imagine if we dropped an army full of people dressed like that in any of our world dominating conflicts?
Yeah.
And she says, my looks and my body are weapons on par with a man's fists. Dang. I guess that's why they call someone being a knockout, right?
Oh.
She said and as with the samurai, one look tells who is the superior fighter. The best swords stay in their scabbards.
But okay, but she's saying all that, but she's not a regular person. She's
Right.
got mind blast and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She's like
So
crazy powerful.
she's like beating her down even more, and like calls her an idiot. She's like, I just don't understand why fight at all. Like, who would want this kind of power? You're horrible. You're all just horrible here. An idiot. Why do you think it's called the Hellfire Club? And so she walks into this room, and then you got the Black King versus the White Queen, and they sit down and they play this game of chess, right? And it's all, as you see the chessboard comes to life, and you get this like psychedelic, cool like night. And they're battling here, and so Bolton's doing some cool things here.
Yeah, it looks great.
When he gets his chance to stretch out a bit, it's cool. And this girl, she's peeking in, and basically the end of it is like, look at her playing her power game. She thinks she's risen above something. She feels so superior to me, yet she's a slave to the games. And but before that, she says, look at them. They don't even move the pieces. So they're just like, they're staring at the chessboard, connected, playing in their minds. And, this is all in their heads. And so, he's like, good game, a draw for now. Says, I may be more vulnerable, but the true victim here is that White Queen. At least I know one thing. To quit before the game has started is the only way to leave this Hellfire Club alive. The end. So it's just a peek into the Hellfire Club, which in continuity, they haven't even there's the back. They haven't even shown them yet.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting backup. I would say I think it's like an issue too early,
right?
Which is a little bit of a shame because because next issue is when you get your first introduction of the White Queen. So
right. Well, maybe
it kind of stinks that they drop it in this little backup here.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense. And I have not read the next issue yet, so I'm not sure what the backup is, if they go and expand that more and just dropping it here, because both of them have been in the backups before already. So anyway, that is issue 128 of X-Men. James, thank you for joining us on the Proteus journey, man. It's been fun having you on. And at this point, I have not seen what we're going to do with the thumbnails, but I'm looking forward to doing that too. So.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
so
cool.
Yeah, come back when it's a story that you actually thought you were going to be reading and want to read.
No, it was good going through these ones. I mean, it's like it's just there's some real cool ups and then some real low kind of so it's just a little uneven for this Claremont run.
Totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next week we are on to 129, and we're gonna get into it next issue. So exciting stuff. Go grab your copies wherever better comic books are resold, or from your bin, or from however the heck you got to get them. And any last thoughts, guys?
No, I think uneven is the best way to describe the Proteus saga, but well worth our time, and we're moving on to more awesomeness.
Rock and also roll. Until next time.
That's right.
Be excellent, folks.
Be excellent, guys.
Bye.